Welcome to our podcast, Learn Biblical Greek, brought to you by Dr. William Stewart, the co-founder of Teleios. This captivating podcast teaches you biblical Greek through a verse-by-verse study of the book of Ephesians, interjecting Greek grammar, Greek word meanings, and vital theology concepts. Thanks for joining us on this exciting biblical journey. Your study will be more effective if you use the Greek text with the Bible word codes, either on the eSword download or Bible Hub website. These links are on our podcast website at www.teliosresearch.com.
Hi, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Teleios. Welcome back to our podcast on learning biblical Greek. We're at Ephesians chapter 3, verse 2, a great chapter and a great book talking about the knowledge of the church, I think is how I summarize it, and you may have a different way of doing that, but it follows the extensive discussion on salvation and its benefits, how to become a Christian, in chapters 1 and 2, ending with the structure of the church, where the church gets its knowledge now, leading to the last 3 chapters, which is the Christian walk. So this is a basis of our Christian walk, these first 3 chapters. So let's start with chapter 2. Have your Greek Bible open. Excuse me again. Ige. So this is a conjunction. Remember, these are important in Greek because they combine thoughts. There is no punctuation. It's a combination of 2 words, I-E for if, and the G-E for indeed, if indeed. Accusate, this is a verb, always challenging, but this time easier, no prefix, but there is an augment. That eta is the augment for the alpha in this case, and then an epsilon from the word akuo, the common word to hear. Next we have ku, which is the root, and then the tense formative sa, which you know by now is the aorist. The aorist is the one-time punctiliar action, the most common past tense verb form. So this is in the indicative because it has the augment. Te specifies the person and number, second person plural, since indeed, or if indeed you heard. Teen economian. So these 2 words, that short word at the beginning before the noun, is going to be a article. It is accusative, singular, feminine, and matches the noun, also feminine, so it's a first declension. Remember, the article tells you the gender and the noun tells you the declension. This word is dispensation. It's a controversial word. The word dispensation is from the Latin. I generally will define it as administration. So salvation is always by grace in the Bible. However, God administers his people in different ways in different times. Now, excuse me again, he administers us through the church. But in most of the Old Testament, he administered his people through Israel, a country. Adam and Eve, he certainly administered differently than the church now. So salvation's by grace, but God directs his people through a different method as scripture and time progresses. Tis karitos. So here we have that short word again, article, that es tells you it's again a genitive accusative singular, which doesn't match the noun, karitos, unmerited favor. That os is the genitive singular on the end of a root word with an ending in a consonant, karit, unmerited favor, charis. So the word here is karitos in the third declension. Tuteo, a very common ou ending for both the article and then the noun. They match, so it's second declension. The ou ending, as you know by now, is genitive, singular, masculine in this case, of God. Tes, T-E-S, again, we see this. So it is an article in the form, but there's no noun following, which tells you it's a pronoun or a relative pronoun. And in this case, it's a relative pronoun. The eta s tells you it's in the genitive singular and feminine, and a relative pronoun, as you know, looks back to the prior phrase and replaces the noun, in this case, karitos, which is feminine. So which, okay, replaces the karitos for the next phrase. Doethis, verb form, get ready, here we go, let's look at it. There's no prefix, there's no augment. We have then the root word do. Now this comes from didomai. If you look at your Robertson's notes in eSword, or in, if perhaps you're in Bible Hub, and this is from didomai, the omega after the D turns into a O. Why? We don't know. Sometimes Greek does. What Greek does, maybe you need a better teacher, I'm not sure. But it's, and of course, coming out of the present tense, there's no repetitive D, so it's just do. The theta, epsilon, iota coming next tells you it's the passive aorist participle. Okay, theta, eta, I, as opposed to theta, eta, which is the usual passive aorist participle, but in the scholars, not participle, but just the passive aorist. And but the EI tells you it's a participle. SES at the end tells you it's a genitive singular feminine. Okay. Been given, which is related to the grace because it's feminine. Me, O-I, which means me, M-E. The I at the end tells you it's dative to me. Is, umas, so preposition is, you've seen before. Into, so the direction into makes it take the accusative. Umas, of course, is you, plural, in the accusative. Wow. Hope you got all that. So what do we have? If you've heard the dispensation or administration of the grace of God, which is given to me, to you. Okay, so he's defining over what he's going to speak, which is given to him, Paul, the prisoner, for the Gentiles, and he's about to give them important information. Thanks for joining me today. Stay with the Greek. It'll pay great dividends. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.